Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back, it's Jordan here. Today is a pretty exciting day because we're gonna start packing up my Lego city. How crazy is that? It's very exciting, but it's a little bit emotional. It's like a mixed bag of emotions, that's for sure. I wanna start with my Lego trains because we have a lot of systems set up for Lego trains in the Lego city, therefore they consume a lot of space. We've got the raised line, the ground line, the amusement park line, so there's just a lot of space allocated to trains. And whenever I go about constructing a new Lego city layout, trains are always one of the first things that I build. So I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe that should be the first thing that I actually take down when it comes to breaking down the Lego city. Before we get to that though, I sort of want to fire them up one last time in this layout. The first thing I want to get fired up today actually isn't a train, it is the Ferris wheel. That always feels like a great place to start. Next up, we've got the Hogwarts Express, which of course is going to go around the amusement park line. I've got that connected to my phone right here, and we should be able to get it going. And that's going to go cruising around the amusement park, go underneath the tunnels over there by the raised platform, and pop out by the haunted house and rip right underneath the Studgate train station. Woof! Now all you've got to do is get the city lines going. That includes the ground line here and also the raised line. So we've got the high-speed passenger train and the other passenger train, and off they go. So we've got 4 things moving in the Lego city. Of course, the passenger train is just going to make its way around the raised line there, in front of the observatory, and here comes the ground line. Swooping around the corner there and making its way past the amusement park. You know, I'm really excited about the new train layout that we're going to have in the new studio. It's going to be epic. It's going to be bigger, better. There's going to be more trains. It is going to be awesome. I can't wait to get some of my freight lines back and also get some sort of subway. And of course, the raised line will also make an appearance as well. We worked so hard on creating the custom raised line with all of these custom supports that are all tiled off nicely. That's just all basic RC track. And then all of the ballast tracks around the amusement park and also around the Lego city as well. So many pieces have gone into the trains. It's crazy. Just perfecting the systems was quite the process, but I'm really happy with the outcome of it in this Lego room, that's for sure. And then of course over here where we have the other tunnel by these townhouses, there is a train station which services the raised line. That's built right into the platform coverings, and then there's another train station right here which services the ground line. Also built into these platform coverings is the dungeon, which definitely needs a new home. It's currently underneath the Winter Village, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and eventually that will move as well. These train tracks right here are pretty cool. They're built right into the roads, tiled off nicely so it's sort of seamless with the road. And then of course there's this train station right over here, which is the Studgate train station. Unfortunately, the platform coverings right here below Santa Claus's Mountain are currently sort of destroyed and under construction. That's because when I had to move Santa Claus's Mountain, I had to actually make it come off an additional couple studs there, so I never got around to repairing that. So we're not going to see that repaired in this layout, unfortunately, but that's all right. It looks like the Hogwarts Express is struggling a little bit with battery consumption. It's pretty cool though that we can see the trains pass through underneath there with those platform coverings destroyed like that. And there we go, Hogwarts Express is making its way around back to the train station. Now one other train that I don't have operational right now is the Disney train. Unfortunately, it was just too tall and it always bumped into this staircase. So either it had to be modified or I had to modify this Lego set. Well, it looks like the Hogwarts train died on us, and now we got the Hogwarts train and the Disney train not operational, but the passenger trains here in the Lego City are cruising around, that's for sure. It always feels pretty good to get those ones operational. They're my favorite trains. Specifically, the high-speed passenger train is actually the first train that I ever got, so it was the one that sort of started it all. There are a few other trains that aren't operational. In addition to the Disney train, we've got the heavy haul train and also the cargo train, so some of the freight lines. And I hope to potentially get those operational in the new studio so we can get more than 3 trains buzzing around the track at one time. That would be magical, and I definitely look forward to it. So yeah, this is pretty much the last time that we're going to see the trains operational in this layout, because I think it's time to start deconstructing them. How crazy is that? It's definitely a memorable moment. Woo! I love seeing these passenger trains just cooking around the lines. They're so much fun. Definitely my 2 favorite trains right there. All right, let's start the Lego train breakdown.
So we're actually going to start right over here with the raised line, which is on the road. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to start with the train track as well, because it was on the road. So in order to remove the road, I have to remove the train track. Now the raised line, for the most part, it comes apart pretty cleanly. Like the track can be removed and then the actual custom built supports can be removed as well. But there are a lot of custom built, like weird shaped supports, like weird lengths and just strange ones that like accommodate like the road pass through underneath and these weird curves that go around that telepost that actually supports the ceiling. So removing these, it didn't really come apart that clean, but pretty easy actually, to tell you the truth. It's funny to think how much time I actually spent building all of these systems for the raised line and how quickly they're going to come apart. Now we've moved over here beside the raised train station. I forgot to point that one out, but it was clearly there in all the shots. So just removing the raised line on the left and right of that. And of course that swoops behind the amusement park there as well. And that's where we're going to continue, right here behind the amusement park. Yeah, so just take down all these raised track supports and then transitioning into the hardest place to reach, which is behind all the amusement park stuff. I can't wait to be able to walk around my city 360 degrees. That is definitely going to be nice for when it comes to installing things like this. All those raised line supports are now gone, and I'm actually going to start removing the first ballast tracks. So some of these are on 16 by 32 base plates, some of them are on 32 by 32 base plates, but they're all modular, so they all come apart quite easily. These are all L gauge standard, and they are just a treat to work with, that's for sure. My desk has become a little bit of a mess. I've got a bin full of parts, and these raised line supports have sort of broken apart into lots of different pieces. So what I'm actually going to do is just sort of try and do this in a neat and tidy way, and that's my goal. When I break down this city, I want to try and keep everything clean, keep everything tidy, and just sort of do it very strategically. So when I go to rebuild this, it's going to be somewhat easy. So I'm taking off all the walls that were on the backside of the amusement park and sort of organizing all of the train track and rebuilding as many of those raised train supports as I can, just using my big bin of pieces, because it came apart like in pieces in some cases just because I was stretching and reaching. So I just want to rebuild as many of those as I can and keep them intact for the future layout so it's easier moving forward. Now we're moving on to this strange section right here, which is by the Ferris wheel. The Ferris wheel is sort of plopped on top of some of these train track plates. It like sits on pedestals. It's not actually tacked down. It's like two 2x2 plates and a 2x2 tile, and then I just sort of rested it on there. But yeah, taking this apart is rather difficult just because there's some weird stuff. And I forgot about the fact that Tinkerbell was actually attached to the Ferris wheel and the Disney castle. She was flying through the air using fishing lines, so I accidentally smashed my double Disney castle. But luckily for me, it's fairly straightforward to fix. It was only held in place by a few jumpers, so I was able to repair that quite quickly. But yeah, it's funny when you're working on stuff like this, you try to not make a big mess and not smash everything. But luckily for me, the double Disney castle was actually fairly easy to fix and the damage wasn't too bad. Moving back over here on the left side of the train station, where we have some half base plate ballast tracks on Mills plates. Pretty easy just to pop those all out, extract them, stack them up, and get them ready for the future. Back over here, okay, these curves are like close together, the ones that go into the study gate train station, because you can actually fit like your standard switch track gap, I'm gonna call it, in the study gate train station. So I had to like create these really weird plates. You can see how many tiles are laid out on that 48 by 48. It is strange. But now that I clean that all up, it's time to put the Ferris wheel back just to get it up off the ground. Popping up behind the Studgate train station here, it's time to remove the Hogwarts Express and also the Disney train, and then some of those large ballast mills plates behind the Studgate train station, and also the ones up front here, which are attached to the Bricksie land entrance. So these here are roads, and they have train track built into the road. So technically they're train tracks. So I'm actually going to start to remove some of the first roads here from the Lego City. When I remove all of the roads, it's definitely going to free up a lot of space and allow me to condense all of the modular buildings. And that's probably going to be my next phase of the breakdown, removing all the vehicles and roads, but I just wanted to get these ones out of the way because they have train tracks. And then I'm able to slide some of the modular buildings down where those roads were to free up some space, because there's some other train track that we have to remove as well. And that, of course, is on the platform coverings. So my plan is to remove these as well, and it's pretty cool because it exposes the large train station, and it'll also expose the dungeon that's hidden under there. So while I've been doing this, I've been trying to keep it neat and tidy, but believe me, I've made a pretty big mess. Let's take a look at that.
So the city's pretty much still intact, other than like this road being removed, and of course all of the train track that's been removed as well. But the plan is to eventually remove all of the roads and then condense all of the modular buildings so they're all close to each other like that, to try and free up as much table space as I possibly can so that I can fit other things on the table. So when I actually start moving, it's fairly easy. But yeah, all that stuff back there is removed, and the office space over here, or studio space, is looking pretty messy, that's for sure. Got some roads down here, so what I'm going to do is just probably remove all these bushes and benches and street lamps so that those can be filed away in a box. So we're going to have a giant box of roads. It's actually going to be insane. And then, of course, I've started moving some of the platform coverings over here. I just want to try and condense as much stuff as possible. Get it all on this side of the table so that when I actually start to move, I can move all of these Lego sets on the tables, and then I can move these cabinets to the new studio space and start transitioning. It's going to be quite the process, but I'm really excited about it. So what I've done is actually pulled out all of my trains. They're stacked up on the table here. So those are all the ones that were in the city, and those are all going to go into a giant box. And then down here are some of the other trains that I was discussing that weren't in the layouts. These were actually underneath the Lego City. So I'm going to put these in that same box. So then I'll have a giant box full of train stuff. And what I'll probably put on the bottom of that box is all of the ballast tracks, because I'll be able to file those in there neat and tidy. Look at that. Those are all half base plate. These are all like full base plate. And another stack of half base plate. There is a ton of tray track. There's all the tiled off tracks from the raised line, and there's all the raised line support stacked nicely there. Then we've got all the walls there as well. That weird switch track. Some of the weird odd shaped ones down here that were around that Ferris wheel. So I've got to try and get all of this stuff packed away because I still need my desk. And I've got this, I was calling it a box, but I'm going to put it in this like Rubbermaid right here. And then that will be all of the train stuff in hopefully one box. So that when I go to set up the train stuff, I know exactly where it is. Yeah, that's going to be the plan, to sort of do this slowly but surely over the next like month and a half. I continued working back here as well. I removed all of the platform covering, so that opens up this area quite nicely. Now I can disconnect the train track, which goes underneath the platform, and start condensing some of these modular buildings. I also disconnected the roller coaster. That is one large module there, so it can be moved just like that. Not too bad. I'm not sure if that's going to be how it looks in the new layout though, so maybe all of this detail work will have to be changed up depending on where this goes in the new layout. And the reason I started moving all of this stuff is so that I could access the platform coverings back here. We've got some weird ones. This one has the train tunnel, and then the covering, of course. The train track used to go over top of that, and then it had a curve built into it. It's a really odd shaped plate. There were these little quarter base plate connectors, 16 by 16 studs, and those connected the train track that flowed underneath there, and there's the other section. So this one is really weird as well. It sits on a 48 by 48 plate, and then there's a little extension coming off here, which is a 16 by 32 plate. So yeah, that was sort of strange. I just wanted to get those disconnected so I could say that all of the train track is now disconnected. That includes everything. I'm starting to like slide some of the platform coverings back here just to sort of try and condense this amusement park. For the most part, these are just like one giant, well, no, they're actually separate modulars. Actually, I was wrong there. This, for example, is a separate module with the loop coaster, and then there's one with the Ferris wheel, and also one with the Haunted Mansion. And then I actually built these little tracks right here on the 48 by 48 plates that are part of the amusement park. So those aren't really removable. So not sure what I'm going to do with that. I think these plates are just going to get moved as is, I guess. But yeah, look at that. With the train track taken apart, it's starting to look a lot different down here. That's for sure. Like, wow. It just frees up so much space. And I can't wait to get the road removed. That's for sure going to be huge, and that's going to be the next project. And then I started doing some desk cleanup as well. So I actually put all of the raised train supports on this 48 by 48 plate. It's pretty cool how you can look through them and see all the arches. Pretty unique shape there. Figured it'd be easier to just transport these like that so they don't get damaged. Put some of the walls on the side there, and then I started deconstructing some of the roads, removing some of those details so they stack neat and tidy in a box. Look at this. We've got the raised train station, so you can actually get in there and see it. You got the staircase, and then some details inside. Nicely tiled off, some benches, ticket stand. So it's pretty cool seeing that. And then of course we've got this one, which is actually one large module as well. And then there's the dungeon, which is one massive module. I think it's 3 base plates. Yeah, 3 base plates. All the detail in there. We've got the vault, the staircase. It's all tiled off, the weapons rack, and then of course all of the jail cells as well. And this guy over here, oof, he's getting whipped. There's some more people in the jail cell there. And that's a pretty cool wall. It's actually bracketed in place there, and then just textured it all with the curved slopes and jumpers and tiles. It's pretty cool seeing the dungeon out in the wild. I decided to bring it over here just so we could take a look at it, right? And then same with this train station as well. It's funny that all these details were sort of concealed inside or underneath the raised platform. You can flip it around this way here so you can actually see some of the interior details. You got the little Starbucks coffee shop right there. It's all nicely tiled off. Got some benches, a map, ticket stand, recycle and garbage, police officer. And then on this wall, there's some advertisements as well. So there's the Sesame Street advertisements and also soaps and studs. So it's pretty cool having all of these sort of dragged out from underneath the raised platforms so you can actually check them out, like a train station and a dungeon. You got the other train station and another train station. There's actually quite a few train stations in the city. That makes 4 of them if you include the Studgate one right there. And then I went through and I started packing up all of this stuff. Oh my gosh, there's so many train tracks. Like, look at this. This is full of ballast train track. Like, it's actually crazy. I thought we were going to be able to fit all the ballast train track and the trains in one tote, but no, definitely not the case. That's all train track. Then I started bagging out some of the loose pieces as well, just so those are sort of kept together. And then I put all of the trains in here. Just stacked them on top of each other. They're not really going to slide around that much. Don't think they're going to get damaged. A few pieces might fall off here and there, but that'll be easy enough to repair when the time comes. So you got all the trains in there. That's my entire train collection in one tote. And then all of this odd stuff right here, such as those weird wonky curves that had to go around the telepost, and then some of the weird nose plates which accommodated some of those ballast lines. It's funny because this side of the city over here has barely been touched with the removal of the trains, other than the raised line that went on this road here. But I wanted to start with the trains because I feel like that sort of unlocked everything that's inside the city. Because the trains were going around the perimeter. Now with that removed, I can very easily slide all these road plates out of the way. That raised line and these ballast tracks were sort of in the way. So the next thing I need to do, once again, is pack up all the vehicles and then pack up all the roads as well. I wanted to start with the trains, and I feel like I accomplished a ton today, and I'm pretty happy with the progress that was made. Of course, I'm going to be vlogging this whole experience, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I can't wait to break it all down, get it condensed, and then start moving it all and start constructing a new layout in a bigger, better space. Hey, thank you so much for coming on by. I highly appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this vlog of me breaking down and removing all of the train systems here in the Lego City. We've got a ton more work to do, so please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff coming out in the very near future. And most importantly, have yourselves a fantastic day. Bye for now.